Today I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence, and particularly the fears of a singularity. That is where artificial intelligent machines reach a point where they become more intelligent than human beings. The reason I bring this up is because I teach at sixth form college, and many of my students are starting to think about taking a subject called extended project, where they have to write a 5,000 word dissertation on a subject of their choice. And many computer science students pick subjects like artificial intelligence, and then they seek advice of a subject expert to find out what avenues they can explore. And one of the more popular ones in artificial intelligence is this fear out there that people have, driven mainly by sci-fi, that one day artificial intelligence could reach the point where it becomes more intelligent than human beings. In order for that to be true, there's got to be a number of assumptions that have got to be made. One, that a mathematically driven digital computer could ever become sentient. Now, think about it for a while. If a computer is made up of binary ones and zeros and is driven by a program, even if that program is in a language like Prolog or Python that allows machine learning and some form of artificial intelligence programming, even if it's based on a mathematical model like a neural network, it still all comes down to binary choices, ones and zeros. It also comes down to the fact that the programmer has to set rules and facts into an actual algorithm, which then have got to be expanded by the program as it learns to actually do things and learn and become better. Well, the problem with that is that all a computer really does, and that's a von Neumann computer, the fetch, decode, execute type central processing unit that we've got now, all they do is do billions of instructions every second. They just seem to us, we anthropomorphize all sorts of inanimate objects, thinking that because they do things very quickly and sort of give signs of some form of cleverness, like lightning fast calculations or being able to work out a complex problem within seconds when it would take humans maybe hours or weeks to do the problem, that somehow this equates to intelligence, and intelligence then leads to consciousness, and consciousness then leads to a problem for the human race when they encounter such machines. But can a mathematical model, can a very fast processor actually be said to be conscious? A lot of eminent scientists, including neuroscience scientists and computer scientists, are looking into the problem of consciousness already in order to answer such questions. And one of the biggest stumbling blocks that they've got is they don't really understand human intelligence. They don't understand what it constitutes and what parts of the brain or mechanism cause us to be able to be conscious. It's not about intelligence, because you could say that maybe a dog is conscious, maybe it's self-aware, but a human being is self-aware and can be different levels of intelligence. Now, you can program the computer to seemingly be intelligent and answer questions, pass the Turing test, all the things that you would need to interact with a machine and feel that you're getting a type of response that would be human. Behind the scenes, it's just a series of algorithms. So, in order to tackle artificial intelligence reaching the point where it becomes actual intelligence or actual conscious machine, then we have to understand how humans or animals become conscious. Interesting studies are going on at the moment. One of them is into how we can give anaesthetics to people to be able to knock them out, and somehow we can suspend consciousness. That means that we can switch them off. Their body functions all right at a very low level, but they're unaware of their surroundings, and you almost switch consciousness off. People that go into long-term comas as well can come out of the comas, and it's quite different from being sedated or being unconscious through to heavy drinking or something. These people just wake up and they have no concept of how much time has lapsed. Now, there are mechanisms in the brain that they're looking at already that account for what they think may be linked with consciousness. I'm not going to go into it because I'm not a neuroscientist, and you could look it up yourself, but they still really don't understand the mechanism. But they do feel that it isn't something that can be uploaded into a machine. It's very organic, the function of a chemical brain. Whether that can be translated into some sort of algorithm that can be put, or data that can be put into a machine, I would guess that the machine would have to be very different to what it is now. A lot of people go to quantum computers then and say, well, once we get quantum computers, then maybe that will be possible, but I don't even think that's the answer. Designers have to be able to bring the machine to a standard that can hold that vast amount of data, and the amount of synapse connections in the brain that's needed to be built and evolved to be placed into a machine would be beyond what we've got now. And even with quantum computers, and they talk about things like Schrodinger's cat, you know, you put a cat in a box and you don't really know whether it's dead or alive until you lift the lid. And other things like the double slit experiment, where the at quantum level particles behave like a single particle or a wave, so they show a pattern. They seem to go through two slits at the same time. And a lot of people have postulated with this level of weirdness that maybe consciousness works on this level. But there are schools of thought that say that our understanding or lack of understanding in the quantum world doesn't mean that when we observe something it seems to change it, that's an actual mechanism. It may be the fact that we just don't know the causal links between what we observe and what seems to be happening and how that changes. It's our own ignorance, basically. We don't really understand the mechanisms involved, like we don't understand the neuromechanisms involved for consciousness. So what I'm trying to say is it's going to be a massive leap of technology and a massive leap of understanding in neuroscience before we can get anywhere near a machine or some sort of mechanism that's maybe a mixture of grown cells and computer technology that can actually be said to be intelligent and able to learn on its own in a real human sense. And even then, could it ever reach a level where you could give it rights? It could be become a new species on its own. It would become sentient, in other words. So, is sci-fi likely to happen? Is the positronic brain that is shown in Star Trek with Data, or some sort of other robot that we see in science fiction, ever going to happen naturally? But I'm going to leave you with this. The way I think of it, there is nothing natural about a man-made machine that's been built. It's too crude. So therefore, there's going to have to be a leap in technology before we're ever near it. And that's not going to happen within a few decades, or maybe a few hundred years, in my mind, unless there's some technology around the corner, or unless there's a new breakthrough in understanding that'll allow us to actually progress that far. And then we can ask the question that students like, and that is, how should we treat these machines? How are they going to respond to us? And is it right to make them do menial tasks? Or would they be a threat to us? But I think we're a long, long way from that. Anyway, why don't you put in the comments below what you think the future is for artificial intelligence?